Ladies and gentlemen, say hi to Jake the Snake Roberts.
I promise you won't be doing that at the end.
So when they were asking, when we have a group of MCs that MC all the panels, and when they were asking people who wants to host Jake's panel, it was like there was this silence because I think people were scared.
Smart people.
Right? And I was like, well, you know, I'm up for the challenge. I'd love to sit across from you.
Oh, so you're like daring me.
No, I'm not daring you anything. I'm staying forward.
Okay.
But I got to tell you.
Close your eyes. Trust me. Open your mouth.
You didn't hear any of this, okay?
That's a finger. That's it. Tickle your tonsils. You're gonna learn so much, kid. You're gonna walk out of here in high school. Yeah, reform school. I mean, not high school, reform school.
So, tell me a bit about your relationship with Montreal.
Yep. Well, obviously, I wrestled here several times.
Yeah.
I had a horrible experience here one night. You know, wrestlers being wrestlers were real jerks, especially in the locker room. And, you know, there's people that like to stir the pot, so to speak. And there was a guy that had wrestled in Quebec before it turned over to the WWF. And it was a big star. His name was Haku, and you know, he had a reputation, and he was quite proud of it. And whenever I came to the WWF, he was one of the guys that I had to wrestle in the early part of it. So his job was to make me look good. But there had been some guys stir the pot pretty much, and so he wasn't in a good mood when he went to the ring. And he let me know right off the bat. And I guess about 5 minutes into the match, I told him, I said, look, dude, if this had been a street fight, I would have given up 3 times. You're killing me. What the F is going on? F is for Frank. And I don't know, bro. I'm mad. I'm not happy. I'm like, okay, hold still. So he's holding still in the middle of the ring. I jumped down the ring, you know. He's like, what are you doing, bro? I'm like, I give up. I'm going back to the back, you know. And thank God he says, okay, I'll settle down. And he didn't. He in the next 30 seconds, he kicked me low, and my voice went high, and I threw up, and I felt bad because I threw up on him. Just a handful, you know, not my whole lunch, but just a good handful of it. And, oh, I'm like, damn, finally something makes him slow down, you know. And that was the end of that. So somehow I won that match. And I got the back. I said, I did not win that match. I got my butt kicked and handed to me. But you know, that's just wrestler's sense of humor. Our wrestler's sense of humor is pretty simple. If the guy doesn't break down and cry uncontrollably, a real mental terror, or there's a lot of blood, then it's not funny. It has to have those two things. So somebody had played a pretty mean joke on me, and I stirred Haku up, and it was horrible. And the other thing that I did with Montreal that was really awesome was there was a benefit baseball game. And you can still go on YouTube today and look for the greatest catch ever, and you'll see that. And it's yours truly. Well, let me explain what happened first. We were supposed to, the WWF wrestlers were going to play these hockey players. Now, we all know that hockey's phony, so that's okay. You know? And we had been arguing with him quite loudly the night before in the bar, as men do when they get together. And there were some pretty rough challenges thrown out there, but now, the next morning we wake up and it is raining buckets of water. And it's like 10 a.m. and the game's supposed to start at noon. And we're like, thank God there's not going to be a game. But we all had horrible hangovers. And it kept raining. And we started drinking again at 11. And it kept raining. And 12 o'clock came and it kept raining. Yeah, the game's canceled. Oh, thank God, man. Oh, let's just drink now. You know, we started really pounding them down. And about 2:30, they said, game's back on. You know, it was really bad, man. And we were quite inebriated. And we went out there and played anyway. And I was out in center field and there was a pop-up towards the end of the game. And I made the game-saving catch to save the game, but that's just by luck. It wasn't by skill, because I took off and ran like a cheetah. And then I figured out I'm running too fast and too far. So I tried to put the brakes on. When I did, my feet shot out from under me. I landed on my butt, and I'm sliding through the water. Water's going up and hit me in the crotch and doing a nice rooster tail. This looks really cool on film. And actually, I stuck my hand up because I was trying to block the water. I was doing like this, trying to knock the water because it was drowning me as I'm sliding. Because I slid from like here to that back wall, man. I was sliding. And the ball landed right in my mitt. And it's on tape. It has the greatest catch ever. And if you see it, you'll be like, holy crap, that is unbelievable. I know it's been on ESPN several times, and quite proud of that catch.
So those are your two big experiences in Montreal?
Well, I did wrestle Hulk Hogan here, but
yeah.
That really wasn't that big of an experience. I didn't think.
I was hoping you were going to mention that.
No, not really. I mean, you know, it is what it is, man. The fans, just in case you wondered, guys, you guys cost me about $15 million because y'all were cheering me back then. And Vince McMahon could not have that because you guys were chanting DDT and DDT, and Vince is like, oh, we can't have that, you know. Because wrestling is not about how many people are in the arenas anymore. Wrestling today is about how much do we sell in the marketplace. And so the merchandising was all geared for Hulk Hogan. They did not want another superstar. They wanted people to feed to Hulk Hogan, but not go above Hulk Hogan. And I was off to the races and was pretty sure of surpassing Hogan's popularity. So they had to stop that real quick. Thank you for doing that for me. No, that's all right, man. I enjoyed my ride. I'm not complaining about that, man. That's the good times up here. Oh, yeah, I forgot about something. What was that guy's name? Mark something or another. He used to put the goofy haircuts on his head. He was a WWE announcer or something in Quebec.
Mark Blaudet.
Mark
Blaudet.
Mark Blaudet.
Okay. But he had a boat on the St. Lawrence River. And I stayed on his boat for a couple of nights, man. That was a lot of fun. Yeah. My ex-wife puked all the time. I loved every minute of it. She was miserable. I still look back to those as the happiest days of our marriage.
I was just going to say, you're obviously able to laugh at yourself, right?
Yeah, you got to, man. It was a horrible time. Horrible time. But every time I talk to her, I mention, hey, you want to go for a boat ride? F you. Frank, remember?
I imagine you guys and girls probably have some questions for Jake, and you're cool about opening it up for questions?
Sure.
We've got mics on each side of the room, so Rather than me ask questions, I'd love to open the floor to you guys to ask questions. So if you want
That
to,
way we can get some good ones.
yeah, exactly. It sucks so far. So if you guys want to ask any questions, there's mics on each side of the room. Go ahead, don't be shy. We started a bit early, so we've got a little more time than we thought.
Oh, you guys are just coming in. You just missed the funniest stuff, man.
Yeah,
it was great.
If you guys like
Here's
low
the
kicks,
highlight. You should ask somebody about it.
vomits, and like fly ball catches, you are in the right place. Right here on the left.
Yes.
Hi, Jake. Your DVD, The Resurrection of Jake the Snake Roberts, is truly inspiring. I'm sure people say that to you all the time. What's an example of somebody that you think that your story has impacted that have told you so?
Man. There have been so many people that have came up to me since I did that. And for you that have seen it, I want you guys to know that it was just voted by you fans the second best resurrection of all time. The guy that beat me, I don't think played fair. He turned water into wine and did all sorts of crazy stuff, and I didn't think it was a fair count, but okay, I'll go with number 2. No, it's helped a lot of people, man, that are struggling, and not only that, it's helped me realize a dream, and that's to be used by the Lord. And He's got me out here now helping people, man. And I had a lot of great moments in wrestling. I wrestled for 36 years. I did a whole lot of stuff, and the snake biting Macho Man, sure, that was cool. I really loved that. And I was at the Silver Dome, 93,000 people, in Toronto at 50,000 at Exhibition Park or wherever we were at, and traveled all over the world and all these amazing things. But the most amazing thing that's happened to me in my life was when I got letters from little kids thanking me for doing that movie because it's helped their daddy quit drinking and daddy's moved back home. You can talk about good times and all that stuff, man, but when it gets real, man, what a rush. And I would put that high against anything I've ever done. And I continue helping people all the time. Even in my comedy shows, I tell people, hey man, yeah, we're in a bar, but that don't mean nothing, man. I can still talk to you about getting right. Some people can drink, some people can't, man. I don't need to help you people that can, but the ones that can't, I can help them. And I just don't want anybody to do the same stuff I did. Because I know how close I got to dying, and I know what I did to my family. And people ask me, what's the hardest thing about quitting drinking? I don't know about you, but I'm going to tell you what the hardest thing is. The hardest thing about quitting drinking and quitting drugs is forgiving yourself. Because it's real hard. Because once you get sober, you start realizing what you've done. And those memories keep coming back to you about what you did to that person and to your family. And, oh my God, I had that great job. And what did I do? Oh, I can't believe I did that. And I was at such a point, man, that I was hating myself so much that I wanted to commit suicide. And I tried a couple of times and failed, which, just to show you how smart an addict is, whenever I woke up the next morning, I'm like, man, what a loser. I can't even die right, man. That's messed up. But that's where you get. You're hopeless. You have no life. You have no family. You have no friends. The only thing you have left is your drug. Whether it be alcohol or a pill or whatever. And that ain't no way to live, man. If there's anybody in here tonight that's struggling and want to talk to me later, man, pull me aside, brother. I'll be glad to talk to you, man. Because there's some serious stuff going on out there, man. Opioids and all that crap. Been there. Done that. Man, it blows me away when I think about the number of Oxycontin I ate at a time, It scares me half to death now. I can't believe I did that. But I did. And here I am. So I finally thought I might as well listen to God because I'm doing a real crap job of doing what I want to do. So I quit driving the car and I let God drive now, man. It's much easier. Sorry I was so long, but that's what I do.
First of all, thank you for being here.
No problem.
And my question is going to be a little bit lighter, but I just want to know, your snake biting Macho Man.
Yeah.
Was that ever planned or it
Yeah,
just
it
happened?
was. It was.
It was?
Yeah, it was planned. And it was planned to the point that Macho Man came to me before it happened. And
I think when you start to giggle
Yeah.
before something, it's gonna get.
yeah, you can listen to the Joe Rogan show and hear the whole thing. So, and I recommend you do it because I can't do it right now. My throat's too messed up to even try to do a Macho Man. But yeah, basically he demanded that I let the snake bite me first because he wasn't sure that the venom had been taken out of the snake. I'm like, so you think I'm going to have a poisonous snake bite you so I can become Intercontinental Champion? Crazier things have happened here in the WWF. So if you won't let the snake bite you, brother, we're gonna go for it right now. I'm like, are you serious? And I had to let it bite me. And he's like, don't take no pills, don't take no elixirs, don't take no vitamins, don't take nothing, brother. I want to see if you're gonna die or not. So after I didn't die, he decided he'd go ahead and do it. I know he told me, he goes, oh, by the way, after that snake bites me, brother, he lets go. You pick him up and come back and ask me. I may have you hook him back up again because I want this thing to work really good. Like, no problem, bro. So when it came time for the snake to bite him, I picked the snake up and turned my back to him so he couldn't see what I was doing. And I paintbrushed the hell out of that snake, man, and he was pissed. Holy crap. And when he bit Macho Man, the absolute funniest part was Macho Man's tied up the rope and he's like, screaming and stuff. I'm like, Macho, you're making it look really good, man. He's like, I'm kidding. It was hilarious. And then the snake wouldn't let go of him, which was even funnier, you know. He's not letting go. I know. That was great.
Thank you very much.
To this day, if I'm having problems, you know, like older men sometimes have, in that department, I just put that DVD in and watch for a few minutes, man. I'm good to go. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to go anywhere past that. Go ahead. Thank you.
Like you said before, it's an honor to have you here in Montreal, and hopefully you come by next year. My question for you is, during your time in the wrestling business, which wrestler you enjoyed working with and why?
Oh, there was too many guys that I enjoyed, man, because back when I started, everybody knew what they were doing. Not like today, okay? Everyone knew how to be a main event guy. And so it didn't matter whether you were on first match or last match. The guy you got in the ring with, man, knew exactly how to do all of it. So it was a pleasure to wrestle any of those guys. And of course, as the years went by, and then once Vince killed off all the territories where you learned, because that's what's killed wrestling, is there's no breeding ground anymore. There's no place to get your skills right, man. You gotta go out there and do it for a while before you get right. These guys today, man, I feel sorry for them, man. They go in there and train their butts off for 6 months, and then they're brought to New York and they say, okay, next week you're gonna be in the main event on Raw, brother. You better do a good job or you won't have a job. Holy crap, what do I do? Well, they go to the ring and they do everything they can think of. But they just don't understand it doesn't mean anything the way they're doing it. sick and tired of watching the same guys do the same things, match after match after match, and none of it means nothing. You can't even, they go so fast, there's not even time to enjoy it. Holy crap, if you were making love and going that fast, your woman tell you, get the hell off and go home. You know? Give me somebody who's supposed to go slow and make me enjoy this thing, man. You know what I'm saying? And I feel sorry for these guys because they tried it night after night after night. Going out there and sacrificing it, and the sad thing is, 30 years from now, you won't remember any of those names. But you'll damn sure remember mine. Because I did it right.
Thank you. Do you have an extra pen? Do you have an extra pen?
Just kidding. You're right, low, bro. No, we're just kidding, man. Take it easy. Hey, write your name on the wall somewhere.
I know you've had some tough times and things
Yeah.
like that, and I know DDP and the DDP Yoga thing really helped you out a lot, and I know it's helped a lot of other wrestlers and things. I just was curious what your experience was like through that process.
Well, here's the thing. You know, some people have a misconception about what DDP did. He didn't hold my hand, okay? What he did was he offered me an opportunity. He knew that I'd been to rehab before. I'd stay 4 months, you know, to rehab, and I'd be walking across the stage getting my diploma for graduating to rehab, and my dope dealer's waiting outside in his car. Gee, that worked, you know, because it hadn't worked. And the only way you're going to beat drug addiction and stuff is to change your habits. Quit doing the same thing, expecting different results. If you're going to change your habits, it takes more than 4 months to change your habits. You've been doing something for 20 years, it might take a couple of months or maybe even a year for you to even start thinking about changing. The first year and a half I was at DDP's, about every 2 months I'd mess up. And it made me absolutely miserable when I messed up because I let myself down, I let him down, and I let the fans down, and man, it really ate at my soul, man. It was horrible. But somewhere in year 2, it clicked. And that urge, that desire, it went away for a little while. And I was able to hold it together. For 2 years, I never left that house alone. If I had to go to work, I had to pay for somebody's airline ticket and their hotel room and their food and pay them for coming with me. That's not a good situation, you know. I'm going to work and it's costing me $1,000 to go to work, you know. This isn't right, you know. Well, if you want it to stop, quit making mistakes. And that's what he did. He gave me a place to stay and told me, and here's how he got me to move in with him. He said, you come to Atlanta, move in with me, I'll pay all your bills. All of them. And I went, including my ex-wife? Yep, I'll pay that bitch too. Pay that witch too. Which, I said. I'll pay all of it. As long as you're trying to quit. Gee, I'm gonna break you that habit. Well, hell, man, I came to Atlanta, I'm like, this is great, man. I don't have to worry about her having me locked up. I don't have to worry about my bills. They're all being paid. This is cool, man. But at the same time, I'm starting to get days together where I'm not doing that stuff. Now, you gotta remember, whenever I went there, I was doing an 8-ball a day, every day. No skipping. Every day I did at least an 8-ball, plus all the booze I had to get with it. 8-ball of cocaine a day, $250. Every day, 7 days a week. Some days there were 2 8-balls, you know. Yeah, but once I didn't do it, it took time to develop those new habits, which was get up in the morning and do DDP Yoga. I remember there were days that I did not want to get up. I'd fake being sick. I'd cry like a fool, man. Please don't make me get up and do that stupid crap. Then a year and a half later, all of a sudden, I'm waking up early going, come on, man, let's get going. I need to do it because I changed my habits. That's what you got to do. You got to change your habits, man. You got to get rid of a lot of people you think might be friends. They're not your friends. They're just your drug buddies, man. Your drug friends. Those aren't friends, man. Run out of money and see how many of them hang around. That's what DDP did for me. He didn't hold my hand. He didn't go with me everywhere. He never went to a meeting with me. I had to pay somebody to take me to the meeting. You know? They'd sit out in their car while I went inside, you know. I did a lot of meetings, man. You know, I did the 90 and 90, all that stuff, man. You know, I guess the best meetings I ever went to were biker meetings. Because those guys would, you know, they call you out on your BS, man. Real quick. They love for people to go in and start talking crap. Shut up, rookie. Oh, never mind, sir, sorry. He's not mad at me, is he? Yeah. Never seen that much ink anywhere. But that's what he gave me, was a safe place where I wasn't going to go to jail if I missed something. And he started feeding me excellent food instead of the crap that I was eating, because, you know, back in your drug days, man, you'll sacrifice your food for your dope, you know. You'll eat junk food just so you can buy more dope. So that's not good for your body. Oh, get those new habits in your life, man. That's when your life starts changing. It really does. All right. Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
Is there applause? No. I just want to ask you what your worst match was, or the worst wrestler you ever
I've never
faced.
had a bad match.
Anybody give you a bad match? Have you been bad to work with?
Yes.
Who's the worst?
Vader.
Vader? May you rest in peace.
I wrestled Vader 3 times. Once was for Boy Meets World. Oh, crap. And it's the only match he didn't hurt me in. Go figure. The other 2 times, each time I wrestled him, he broke my sternum. That's a very painful injury. And I was off 6 months each time. And I went to him, I'm like, dude, what is going on with you, man? You just broke my sternum, man. I can't breathe. He's like, Jake, I'm really sorry, because when I get in the ring with you, the people are so into it that I just go crazy. Well, I can fix that. How can you fix it? I'm just not getting in the ring with you again. That was it, man. I refused to wrestle him again. I mean, some people are just idiots, man, and it's tough enough to wrestle somebody, but you get somebody out there that's dangerous and somebody that doesn't take care of their opponent's body. To me, that was always the most important thing, is don't hurt that other guy, Jake. Sacrifice yourself before you hurt your opponent. Because that's the way it should be. Because when you're in that ring and you let a guy suplex you or do some goofy move, man, you're giving him your life. You're trusting him with your life. Because if he lets go of you at the wrong second, you're in a wheelchair or dead. Seriously, folks, I've seen it happen. Seen it happen, man. It's tough enough in this whole world to get by, man, than having an idiot on the other side of the ring that doesn't take care of you. I mean, holy crap, I don't mind you hitting me. I like it hard, man, to tell you the truth. You know, there's a lot of guys today don't like it nice and solid. I always wanted to hear it when it thudded, you know. As long as you're not knocking my teeth out or breaking my nose, hit me, you know, because I'm going to give you one back, you know. I mean, I'm kind of, I guess I'm queer for that shit, man. I like throwing them, you know. I mean, we're not talking about dance class here. We're talking about wrestling. You know, don't throw that light stuff at me, man. You throw that light stuff at me, I'm gonna throw you something you're not gonna like. Yeah. So that's that.
So then, who was the best?
I wrestled too many of the best, man. You know, I could list their names as a mile long, man. From the Briscoes to Harley Race to Ronnie Garvin to Christ, man, Steamboat, DiBiase, all those guys were great, man. Rick Martel was great. Yeah, there was a ton of them. Thank you.
Thanks.
Next.
Hi, I wanted to ask you, one of my first memories of you in the ring was your program with Rick Rude at the end of the 80s, I think it's 88, something like that.
Mhm.
So I was just curious, because it's one of my favorite memories. I remember your match, I think it was WrestleMania 4 in the tournament.
Yeah.
Could you talk about a little bit about that
That
program you had
match,
with it?
that tournament match, holy crap. Here's the thing, man. A lot of guys, when you tell them they're going to be in WrestleMania or on television with this match or a pay-per-view with this match, they all of a sudden they want to think of all these new things they've never done. Oh, excuse me, if you've never done it, I'd rather you say that for somebody else. Not when everything's on the line. My experience in life told me you should do what got you to the show. Don't change your whole thing up. But so many guys, man, when they hear they're on pay-per-view or something, they want to do all this new stuff and they want to kick it up 2 or 3 gears, man. That's not what got you here. Slow down. And Rick Rude, man, oh my God, that was hell. For 20 minutes we wrestled each other. Oh my God, man. Like I said, I'd have gave up 2 or 3 times if it had been a street fight, you know. And the best thing that happened in that match was when I left the ring. Because during the match, him and I both noticed that Ivana Trump would not even look at the ring. And she was at ringside. She had her chair turned to the side and was sipping champagne, and Donald was beside her. Well, that kind of slapped me in the face, you know. She never made a reaction at all about anything we were doing, and we were busting our butts. Man, we were going for 20 minutes. So when I came out of the ring, I grabbed the snake and I accidentally slung it. And it slapped her in the breast, and she went over backwards in her chair. And then I was happy. And Donald Trump ran up the aisle and left her there. So,
Speaks volumes.
yes, it does. That's the best I've ever done.
Thank you. If any of you guys have questions, we still have about 15 minutes, so feel free to ask any questions. I think, as you can see, with I don't think there's anything that's off limits with you, right?
I don't think so. If there is, you'll hear a big F you and, next question. Yes.
I hope you don't mind me asking a second one.
Of course not.
I read in Bret Hart's book that you were at one point in the Calgary territory. Do you have any funny stories about Bret Hart's insane family?
Oh, yeah. I don't think we had that long now. Brett and I were roommates. And I hurt my knee up there. Junkyard Dog fell into the side of my knee and it collapsed. And I had to ice it down 10 minutes an hour, 24 hours a day. Well, during that time, Stu came over to visit me one day. Well, in those days, I was using the sleeper hold as my finishing maneuver. And to make it different, I called it the, check this out, the quick sleeper. It puts you out quicker than any other sleeper ever did. Yeah, I know, stupid. So, Brett and I were watching old VCR matches and watching different guys put sleeper holes on me. There was Leo Burke, There was, I can't remember, 2 or 3 other guys that did it. And Stu come over, he's like, hey, how you doing, you big bastard? Hey, you feeling better? I'm like, Stu, I feel like crap, look at my leg. My leg was like this big, man. He's like, yeah, he said, what are you doing? I'm like, well, I'm trying to watch this, but you won't shut your mouth so I can hear it. He's like, what are you, oh, wrestling, oh yeah. Oh, Leo Burt there, he's a hell of a wrestler. I'm like, yeah, I know, but his sleeper holes suck compared to mine. What? So his sleeper hole sucks compared to mine. He goes, what are you talking about? Neither one of them for the crap. I'm like, are you kidding me? Still, if my leg wasn't messed up, I'd get up and put your big old butt out. What? Are you serious? You know, and he lost it, man. And then he started telling me that he knew 9 different ways to put people to sleep. And I called him a liar. And he started showing me how many different ways he could do it on Brett. Yeah, it's kind of where our friendship ended. About the 4th or 5th time, I can't remember which one it was so violent. It was so, oh my God, it was sickening. I started trying to distract him just so Brett could get loose, because Brett was bleeding out of his nose, bleeding out of his ears, and out of the corners of his eyes, which I found amazing. You know, not to mention the stuff he's coughing up. And he had already urinated and defecated in his pants too. So that's the last thing you do before you die. And Stu had put him right on the edge 2 or 3 times, man. Because some of the maneuvers Stu was doing, they weren't wrestling holds, they were just choke holds. He was choking him until he went out, man. And yeah, like I said, that's kind of when Brett and I kind of had a little fallout, you know? Yeah, I can't take a joke. There was always something going on with the Hart kids. It was a great experience for me. I'll be forever grateful to Stu Hart and that opportunity, because I was just learning how to be a top guy. The only way you become a top guy is by learning to be a top guy. Because a top guy's match is completely different than a beginner's match. Your timing's different, everything's different. You gotta react different. So, you know, him giving me that time to learn and to hone my craft, I'm forever grateful. Yeah. Yes, sir.
I was just wondering if you have any interesting, or I mean, Vince in general is a crazy character, and any stories you have about Vince as a person or as a guy in wrestling, which is its own special kind of field.
Nah, Vince and I, man, he kind of twisted individual, man. He's got a lot on him, man. You know, a lot of responsibility, and he's very creative, very, very smart. He doesn't claim to be the smartest guy, but he knows where to get the smartest guy. And he doesn't mind bringing them to the table. You can say what you want to about Vince McMahon, but he's very, very successful. You know, and I don't know many billionaires, but he's one that I do know. And, you know, he's got his quirks and his ways about him. Again, he's just got too much responsibility on him, man. I don't know, man. You know, you think about what he could do, if he would do. That's not fair to say that, you know, because you're not in his shoes. You know, he can treat the wrestlers a lot better. He can give us, you know, health care. He can even give us retirement. I mean, how many billions do you need? You know, when a guy can take $500 million and put it on football that you've already failed at once, you got too damn much money. He needs to develop a cocaine habit. Because I discovered that was God's way of telling you you got too much money. You get on cocaine, you will lose that money. I know. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, thank you for being here. Your everything you had to say about forgiveness, forgiving yourself was really inspirational. I know my dad had some regrets from when us kids were growing up.
Sure.
He was a great father, but he thinks that he was not good enough. He was gone too much. What could I tell my dad to really make him understand you have to stop beating yourself up. You're a great father. You're a good person.
I really can't tell you that, you know, I mean, I know my kids have told me they love me and they forgive me, but I still want to do more. You know, I think that any father always wants to do more for his children, you know, and if he does have regrets, just tell him, hey Dad, for whatever you think that you forgot to do or didn't do, I don't know what it was, but I forgive you. And I love you. But what I really don't like, Dad, is you continually pounding yourself because it disgusts me. Just tell him that way. You know? Tell him to put a smile on his face or you'll put your foot up his ass. That might do it.
Thank you.
You never know. Try it.
All right.
All right.
I think it goes back to what you were saying about how hard, you know, how hard people are on themselves. It's just about learning to love yourself.
It is hard to learn to love yourself, man. It was really tough for me. I mean, it took me a long time before. Dallas made me go in front of the mirror and say, tell yourself that you're a good dude. I'm like, F you, man. Tell yourself you're cool. No, man, I'm not doing it. Well, you'll be in here a while. I don't give a shit. And every morning he'd come wake me up. He'd say, hey, you go in that mirror. I'm like, dude, get out of my... And finally one day I just said it just so he'd shut up. And the next day I had to say it again so he'd just shut up. And then one day I said, you know what, I can say that and it doesn't really hurt now. And you know, it's not something that you do automatically. It's something you have to think about doing. And you know, there's still a lot of things in my life that I want to work on, you know, and but I'm smart enough to know this. I drank and did drugs for 45 years. I've been sober for 8 years. So, I got 30-something years to keep working on stuff before I get square, you know? And I'll never remember all the bad things I did, but each time I do remember something, I try to get right with it, you know? Again, forgiving yourself is the hardest thing you'll ever do, no doubt.
You find you're looking at yourself in the mirror now and you're able to say that you like yourself?
Yeah. You know, I realize besides being hot that I'm pretty cool. I mean, if I was a chick, I'd do me. I've been thinking about doing me anyway. What the heck?
Go ahead.
I kind of feel bad asking you a wrestling question now after that. Wonderful. First of all, let me just say, just so you know, you are just as exciting to my children now as you were to me when I was a kid.
Well, I appreciate it, but that just goes to show you how bad wrestling is.
I just wanted to ask you, when I was watching you as a kid, like, I remember I loved you, I loved Damien, I loved the snakes, but then you switched to using cobra snakes.
Yeah.
And as a child, I was absolutely terrified of you. Yeah. And I was curious if there was, like, for you, was there a big difference? This is such a stupid question after all your inspirational stuff.
Okay.
But was there a big difference between working with the pythons in the beginning and the cobra snakes later?
Oh, absolutely.
And what was it?
The weight. I was so glad to get that cobra, you know. 15-foot cobra only weighs about 12 pounds. That's a whole lot lighter than having to drag a 100-pound python around. A 100-pound python doesn't scare anybody, but a 12-pound cobra freaks people out. And I loved it because a cobra doesn't have teeth, doesn't have fangs. They have teeth. So they kind of feel like a fish's mouth when they bite you. It doesn't really hurt. Yeah, it kind of freaks you out when you look down and see something just gnawing on you, but I know I used to drink in the room and I'd get bored, you know, and I'd dump the cobra out on the bed opposite of me and hang my arm out there and let him strike at it, you know, and I'd move it, because cobras, they don't strike from here and go that way like a regular snake. They just kind of hood up, they stand up, and they fall about that fast. So it's pretty easy to pull your hand out.
Right.
So I'd be pulling it out, then the phone would ring, I'd you bite the other arm. Freak me out a little bit, you know. And, yeah, man, the Cobra got respect, man. And if the airlines knew how many times I put that thing up in the overhead, they would freak out.
Yeah, I guess flying today would be a lot different with the
Yeah.
snake.
Well, you know what got me, man, was they used to like flying internationally, they would x-ray all your stuff, right? And I was flying internationally with Vince in Japan, and they put the snake through the scanner. And I'm looking at the scanner with them, and there's the bones, you know? And they pull the back to the side. I'm like, oh boy, here it goes, man. I'm going to get booted out of here. Hell yeah, because I didn't want to be in Japan anyway. So if I could blame the government for it, I'll still get paid, you know? Like Vince, I tried, you know? And they said, would you open the bag, please? And I'm like, okay, no problem. So I opened it. They walked over and picked the bag up that the snake was in and looked, and then set the bag down and said, go ahead. I'm like, don't you hear it ticking? I mean, are you kidding me? I still had to wrestle. Yeah. Was that the question? I forgot. Was I through?
Well,
Okay, I was through.
Go ahead, we got time for two more.
I have brain farts, folks.
Thank you. I have another wrestling question. You were part of the creation of Stone Cold Steve Austin character.
Yeah.
And when you were doing that that angle with him at the King of the Ring, did you feel that it was gonna get over as it did?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. I was the only guy, at the time I was writing television for Vince, okay? I'd been brought back and I was writing TV for him. And Steve came to work for him and I told him, I said, Vince, that guy right there is going to be the next biggest superstar you ever had. He's like, are you kidding me, Jake? That guy won't get past third match. That's when he was still the ringmaster. And still had DiBiase talking for him. I said, man, if you'll let that guy go and just be himself. He's like, Jake, no way. Well, at that point, I called Steve aside and I said, dude, I'm gonna help you. And you gotta come out of your shell, man, and just be yourself. Just go crazy and be yourself. If you don't, man, you're not gonna get a chance to be on the top. So every night he would call me and talk to me about his match and what had happened, what he did, and I would school him. Steve's a quick learner. And then we went out in the King of the Ring and did that thing with both of us hurt. I had a broken sternum, and he bit his mouth in half. You know, I mean, he had like 30 stitches in his mouth. And we still went out there and put the house on fire. And the only thing is, man, I mean, Austin 316 was good, but they missed the boat. The boat would have been Austin's 10 Commandments. Thou shalt not kill unless thou art pissed. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife unless she's smoking hot. Thou shalt honor thy mother and father unless they're dicks. You know, and right on down the line, you could have made $1 gazillion with that stuff. So they kind of blew it there, but yeah, whenever I came back after that, and before I left, I told Vince, I said, so who was right on that Austin thing? He wouldn't answer. You're a billionaire, you don't have to answer shit. Yeah. All right, one last
Do you have any stories about Andre? Tell us.
Yeah, I mean, number one, what did I ever do to you people? I mean, you caused me to lose my shot at the belt, you know, with the Hogan thing, by cheering me. And the next thing you do for me is you you get behind me when I'm fighting Andre. If you were a real fan of mine, you would not have me get in the ring with Andre. You'd say, Jake, for God's sake, run. That giant's gonna effing kill you. You don't have a prayer. But no, go, Jake. I remember one night a fan handed me a chair to hit Andre with. I said, are you crazy? It'll just piss him off. There's some things you just don't do. Andre was, friggin' giant, man. That's all you can say about him until you got in the ring with him. You didn't realize just how massive he was and how strong he was. I was telling somebody earlier, he used to hit me, and I'd be falling towards the floor, and he'd reach out with one hand and grab me by the hair, jerk me to my feet, which really hurt. Because your hair just went, and you're so powerful. You didn't have a prayer. The most frustrating thing in the ring that can happen to you is when you're trying to kill your opponent and they don't even know it. Because I used to hit him as hard as I could. I would hit him so hard that I would jam my wrist, my elbow, and hurt my shoulder all at once. And he'd just go, are you kidding me? And, I guess two of the worst things he did to me were he'd stand on my hair after he knocked me down, and then he'd reach down and grab my arms and pull, which ripped my hair out. And the other thing was he sat on me one night and passed some air. And my shoulder was vibrating. I'm like, what the hell is that? And because they giants fart different. It's not like it's like a it's like a breeze coming in, like somebody left the door partly open or something. I'm like, what the hell? And he started laughing, and the referee says, Andre, what are you doing laughing in the ring? You're not supposed to laugh in the ring. I'm farting. I'm laying down there going, oh my God! And the referee walked off because he started to laugh. But then the referee walked back about 20 seconds later. He goes, now why are you laughing? I'm still farting. And I pretty much timed that fart. It was like well over 40 seconds. It was truly amazing. I know when he finally got up, I had a wine stain on my shoulder where he was sitting. And I thought it was a birthmark, but it washed off, thank God. Guys, you've been absolutely wonderful. I hope you had a great time.
Just so you know, if you guys are looking for a photo with Jake, he's got a photo op at 7:10 tonight.